Now, President Obama has urged Asian countries to follow what he called Burma's remarkable journey towards democracy. The first sitting American president to visit a nation once considered an international pariah met his Burmese counterpart and the pro-democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi, who got a hug and a kiss. But as he appealed for an end to the deadly clashes between Muslims and Buddhists, some are asking if his trip might be just a little premature. From Rangoon, here's our Asia correspondent, John Sparks.
There was a time, not so long ago, when nobody wanted to visit Rangoon. But that's all changed. World leaders have been turning up in droves to congratulate Burma on its recent democratic reforms. And today, it got the ultimate pat on the back. President Obama's visit is all about encouragement, a bit like awarding a prize for most improved student. He paid a visit to the country's president, Thein Sein, and the opposition leader, Aung San Suu Kyi, who certainly seemed glad he came. But the president has received a great deal of criticism for making the trip now. That's because Burma's leaders have been ambivalent about terrible violence inflicted on a Muslim minority group called the Rohingya. So in a speech this afternoon, he told his audience of dignitaries and politicians to try harder.
But there's no excuse for violence against innocent people. And the Rohingya hold within themselves the same dignity as you do and I do. National reconciliation will take time, but for the sake of our common humanity and for the sake of this country's future, it's necessary to stop incitement and to stop violence.
Well, we've just returned from this part of the country. It's called Rakhine State. We tried to visit a village called Yin Thay, where the worst single example of violence against the Rohingya is believed to have happened. And this is what we found. The water is calm and the countryside tranquil. But these scenes are deceptive, for there is little peace in Burma's northwest. We've heard a story about a massacre in a village called Yin Thay, and we've come to investigate it. Our contacts tell us the village has been destroyed and many people have died. It's isolated and difficult to get to, but we're going to try. Ethnic Buddhists and Muslim Rohingya have lived here for centuries, but in recent months, hatred and violence has spread. Both sides have suffered, but the Rohingya have borne the brunt. 110,000 have been burnt out of their homes. Those remaining in their villages face draconian restrictions. We saw the Burmese army keeping watch in Muslim villages on our way to Yin Thay. But when the road ran out, so did our progress. And I can see some troops on the other side, on the other bank. As we crossed a rickety bridge, our path was blocked by soldiers and military policemen. Don't let them film, said the lieutenant. Something terrible happened in Yin Thay 3 weeks ago, but the soldiers wouldn't talk. Later on, however, we met 2 doctors who did. How many people have died in that village?
59.
59?
Yeah.
I asked the doctors what happened. They said the local Buddhists, the Rakhine, had carried out a planned attack.
5,000 people.
A few minutes later, a small group approached us. They just visited some of the survivors in Yin Thay, but the army intervened.
No.
Can you tell me what happened? What happened?
No.
Can you tell me what happened? However, we have obtained pictures from the village. Pictures of newly dug graves. 8 in one pit, 4 in another, 6 in another, said one local. Of the community's 500 houses, only 7 remain, and hundreds of people now live in the fields. Some have suffered terrible injuries. This boy is 3 years old. A spear was thrust through this man's abdomen. As we made our way back to the nearest town, we found someone, a Rohingya, who said he'd been in the village when the violence began. Mr. Ayu described a massacre, acts of barbarism conducted with spears and swords and maces. As we left, they told us the attack on Yin Thay had been organised by a government official. And tonight we've learnt the government's administrator in the area, a Buddhist, has been arrested. Few Muslims will take comfort from his detention, however, when their future in this country feels so precarious. John Sparks, Channel 4 News in Burma.